Welcome to Commerce Guru.
Okay, picture this for a second. You're on a Zoom call, ideas flying everywhere. You've got someone dialing in from Mumbai, another from São Paulo, maybe New York, someone else from Tokyo.
That's quite the virtual room. A real mix.
Exactly. It's not just tricky scheduling, right? It's this amazing melting pot of perspectives.
And what jumps out immediately is just the sheer potential there. Different ways of thinking, sparking something new. But it also hints at the interesting dynamics when all those different cultural norms and communication styles meet.
Spot on. And that's exactly what we're going to dive deep into today. We're exploring the complexities of managing cultural diversity in the workplace. Because let's be honest, we all know that in today's world, diversity isn't just some nice to have.
No, it's shifted. It's really seen as a strategic advantage now. A superpower, almost.
Definitely a superpower. And
Yeah.
the data backs this up pretty strongly, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. If you look at the big picture, something like 87% of global companies say diversity is a top priority for them.
87%. That's huge. It's clearly not a fringe thing anymore.
Not at all. It's woven into basic business strategy now.
And it's not just about, feeling good or doing the right thing, is it? There's a real financial side to this.
There really is. Research keeps showing that companies with more diverse teams are significantly more profitable, like 36% more profitable than less diverse ones.
36%. So when we talk about this, we're not just in HR territory. This is strategy. This hits the bottom line.
Precisely. It's about performance, innovation, market understanding,
Right.
all driven by that variety of perspectives.
So what's actually driving that profitability, Ling? Is it just having different people?
Well, it's what those different people bring. It's the wealth of varied perspectives, experiences, ways of tackling problems. When you have folks with genuinely different backgrounds, culturally, experientially thinking together, you naturally get a richer pool of ideas.
And presumably better problem solving because you're less likely to fall into, groupthink.
Exactly. It's a powerful antidote to everyone approaching things the same way.
Right. And when we talk about workplace diversity, it's important for everyone listening to think beyond just, who's physically present. It digs deeper, doesn't it? Into the mix of cultures, languages, life experiences, viewpoints.
Absolutely. It shapes how people approach their work, how they interact, how they see the world. It's not just representation numbers.
It's about the diversity of thought that comes with it, how that actually plays out day to day.
That emphasis on diverse thinking is key. You can have people from everywhere, but if their unique insights aren't actually valued or integrated,
Then you're missing the real benefit.
you're only scratching the surface, yeah.
Think about a company like Unilever. I mean, they employ people from over 190 nationalities.
Well, 190.
Yeah. And that's clearly a very conscious decision on their part. They get that to really innovate for a global market, you need that incredible range of perspectives.
It makes sense. You need people who understand those different markets from the inside out, not just looking through one cultural lens.
You can't innovate effectively in an echo chamber, right?
Exactly. And what's insightful about that Unilever example is the clear link they see between that diversity and actual market innovation. A team that's too similar, however smart they are, can just develop blind spots. They share the same assumptions.
Whereas diverse teams are just inherently better placed to understand the nuances of, say, a global customer base.
Precisely.
Okay, so we can see why this is so important. But how does a company actually create an environment where this diversity doesn't just exist, but actually flourishes? Our sources talk a lot about something called cultural competence. Let's try and unpack that a bit. What does that mean in practice?
Okay. Well, at its core, cultural competence is really the ability to interact effectively and respectfully with people from different cultural backgrounds. It involves developing your capacity for empathy, really trying to step into someone else's shoes, see their perspective.
Which isn't always easy.
No, it takes conscious effort. It means active listening, really trying to understand different communication styles, maybe even noticing nonverbal cues.
Ugh, the nonverbal stuff. That can vary so much, can't it? Even things like eye contact or how silence is used.
Hugely. Or directness versus indirectness of communication. What's normal in one culture might feel blunt or even rude in another.
Yeah, I was reading our sources mention how companies like Starbucks actually train their baristas worldwide in cultural sensitivity.
That's a great example.
It might seem small, but understanding those little nuances and just a quick customer interaction on a global scale, that can really impact satisfaction, loyalty.
It really can. It's about recognizing that standard business practice or even politeness isn't universal. What's fine here might be misinterpreted or even offensive somewhere else.
So cultural competence gives people the awareness and hopefully the skills to navigate those differences effectively.
With sensitivity and understanding.
Now, let's be real for a moment. Building this kind of inclusive, culturally competent workplace, it's not always a smooth ride, is it?
Definitely not. It's not a walk in the park.
Our sources acknowledge that. There are definitely hurdles. What are some of the main challenges companies tend to bump up against?
Well, miscommunication is a big one. Obviously, language barriers can play a role, but it's often more subtle, those different communication styles we mentioned. Direct versus indirect, high context versus low context.
Right. What else?
Then you've got the issue of ingrained biases and stereotypes, things we might not even be aware of, unconscious biases that can affect how we interact or make decisions.
The unconscious stuff is tricky.
It really is. And, there's sometimes just a natural human resistance to change. A reluctance maybe to embrace new ways of working that really prioritize inclusivity. It can feel disruptive initially.
Okay, so challenges exist, but presumably the flip side is that there are huge opportunities if you get it right.
Absolutely. For every challenge, there's often an equal or greater opportunity.
So what are some of those tangible benefits? If you navigate this well, what good things happen?
Well, the sources consistently point to a real boost in creativity and innovation. It makes sense. More diverse perspectives lead to more novel solutions, more breakthrough ideas.
Okay, innovation boost. What else?
There's the advantage of understanding and accessing a wider range of markets. If your team understands different cultures, you're just better equipped to connect with global customers.
Better market access makes sense.
And crucially, it often leads to a more engaged and satisfied workforce. People feel valued, respected for who they are and what they uniquely bring. That impacts retention, productivity.
That point about feeling valued really resonates. One of the insights I found interesting in our sources was this shift from just tolerating differences to actively celebrating them.
Yes, that's a really important distinction.
It makes sense, right? If you want people to truly collaborate and feel part of a team, you need an environment where they feel genuinely seen and appreciated for their individuality, not just put up with.
It's that move from basic tolerance, which is passive, to true inclusion, which is active. There's that great quote from Verna Myers that was in our material.
Oh, the party one?
Yeah. Diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being asked to dance.
Yes. That really hits home, doesn't it? It's about active participation and belonging.
Exactly. Creating an environment where everyone feels empowered to join in fully authentically.
So, okay, how do organizations actually build these inclusive workplaces where people feel like they belong, like they can, dance? Our sources had some practical starting points people could think about.
They did. A lot of it starts with cultivating a mindset of openness, being genuinely receptive to different ideas, actively seeking out diverse perspectives instead of just defaulting to the familiar.
Openness. Okay. What else?
Things like consciously celebrating different cultural holidays and traditions within the workplace. It's a visible way to acknowledge and appreciate the richness within the team.
That sounds like a good, tangible step.
And critically, creating psychological safety. That's huge.
Define that for us quickly.
It means fostering an environment where people feel safe to speak up, to voice opinions, share ideas, maybe even challenge the status quo or take calculated risks without fear of being embarrassed, punished, or shut down.
Right. Feeling safe to be yourself and contribute fully.
Precisely.
And the example of employee resource groups, or ERGs, like the ones at Microsoft for women, minorities, LGBTQ plus employees, veterans, that seem like a concrete way companies foster this.
Yes, ERGs are a great example of structures that support inclusion. They provide support networks, a sense of community.
And they amplify diverse voices within the company too, right? They can provide feedback upwards.
Exactly. They offer mutual support, but they also give the organization vital insights into how to better serve both their employees and their diverse customer base. It shows inclusion isn't just a vague idea, but part of the structure.
Okay, so we've got the why and the what's. Let's get into some really concrete, actionable strategies now. What can organizations actually do to manage, or maybe better, leverage this cultural diversity effectively?
Right, the how. Our sources outline several key strategies. One big one is implementing comprehensive diversity and inclusion training.
What should that training cover ideally?
Good training goes beyond just awareness. It should help people understand cultural differences, challenge their own unconscious biases, and, importantly, equip them with actual skills for better cross-cultural communication and collaboration.
Skills, not just awareness, okay?
Another strategy is establishing cross-cultural mentoring programs. Pairing people from different backgrounds can be really powerful for mutual learning and building stronger relationships across differences.
I like that idea, learning from each other directly.
Employee affinity groups, like the ERGs we mentioned, are another structural element, fostering those communities. And really importantly, ensuring that leadership development actively cultivates a diverse pipeline. You need diversity at the top to truly embed and sustain an inclusive culture long-term.
Leadership commitment is key then. And there was another pretty compelling statistic related to leadership in our sources, wasn't there?
Yes, the one about inclusive leaders. Companies with leaders who demonstrate inclusive behaviors are apparently 70% more likely to capture new markets successfully.
70%.
Yeah,
Well, that's a massive competitive advantage. That should grab the attention of any leader focused on growth.
It absolutely should. It just powerfully reinforces that this isn't just an internal HR thing. It directly impacts external performance, market success, the ability to thrive globally.
Because inclusive leaders are better able to understand and respond to diverse customer needs.
Exactly. They foster teams that can genuinely connect with a wider range of people, leading to better market penetration, more innovation, and ultimately, more profit.
Okay, let's try and pull this all together then. We've looked at why managing cultural diversity is so vital today, what it really means beyond just numbers.
We've touched on the challenges, but also the significant opportunities.
Right, and we've discussed some practical strategies companies can actually use. So what's the main takeaway message you think people should get from this deep dive?
I think the core theme running through all our sources is this. Diversity isn't just about being socially responsible, though that's important. It's a fundamental driver of business success. It's the engine for creativity, for innovation. And yes, it's a key factor in being more profitable, but fundamentally, it's about people.
It always comes back to people, doesn't it? Recognizing and truly valuing the unique talents and perspectives every single individual brings.
Absolutely.
So maybe we need to shift our language, our thinking, away from just managing diversity as if it's some kind of problem to contain. The real power seems to lie in leading with diversity, embracing it, celebrating it, actively building environments where everyone feels they can contribute their best, their whole selves.
That shift from a management mindset to a leadership approach is crucial, I think. It implies being proactive, intentional about building that inclusive culture. It's not just reacting to demographics changing. It means commitment from the very top to seek out, welcome, and genuinely value different viewpoints.
Hear, hear. And on that note, we're genuinely interested in hearing about experiences out there. So a question maybe for everyone listening, what's the most diverse team you've ever worked in? What was that like?
Yeah, reflecting on those personal experiences is so valuable.
Sharing those stories, the successes, maybe even the challenges. That's how we all learn, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is definitely an ongoing conversation.
It really is. And those real-world stories offer insights you just don't get from theory alone. They can inspire others building their own teams.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, the final thought to leave you with is this. Culture isn't the challenge, it's the opportunity. It's a strategic asset.
Use it wisely.
Exactly. Let's all try to harness that potential.
Indeed. By embracing cultural diversity, by actively building inclusive workplaces, we don't just unlock team potential. We build better, more dynamic, more innovative organizations overall, more reflective of the world we actually live in.
Thanks for watching.